Hey guys, welcome to Mild Moments History. You're not in your bed tonight. You're lying on a cushion that smells of frankincense and something sweeter, maybe lotus oil, spilled long ago and soaked into the fabric. The air is thick, warm, breathing through silken curtains. You hear soft laughter from behind the wall. Or is it singing, "You think you're here to serve wine"? That's what they told you. Just pour the wine. Stay quiet. But your robe is sheer, your eyes are painted, and the man watching you doesn't care about the drink in your hand. You don't speak. That would be dangerous. You just smile the way they taught you. Because tonight, this palace is celebrating Hathor, goddess of music, love, and drunkenness. And when they worship, they don't pray, they perform. What time is it? Where you are? Tell me in the comments. It's always strange to think who else is awake right now. Now dim the lights. Let your breath slow down. You're not in control. You're in history. And in ancient Egypt, pleasure was sacred. And sacrifice always followed. You wake up before the music ends. It never really stops. It just drifts farther away when the dancers grow tired. The cushion beneath you smells like rose oil and old wood. You don't remember lying down, but you remember the floor being warm. The palace is carved from limestone that holds the day's heat, releasing it gently through the night. Your room, if you can call it that, is no more than a shaded alcove behind hanging linen. The walls are painted with hibiscus and sacred cows, but the paint is chipped where fingers have lingered. Beyond the curtain, moonlight pools on a tiled hall. Polished stone turquoise inlays, petals scattered by servants who move like shadows. The air smells of incense, sweat, and pomegranate. Somewhere nearby a lyre strikes a single, trembling note. You're not a guest here. You're not quite a servant either. You're part of the night decoration, perhaps. A beautiful silence made visible. They don't feed you during the day. You eat at night, when the trays are half finished and no one's watching. Sweet figs, mashed dates, thick beer, with a foam like river mud. Someone left a plate of lentils with honey. You tear the soft flatbread and dip. You chew slowly, not because of hunger, but because it's the only moment you're alone. Sometimes there are grapes, but you can't take too many. Someone counts. The flavors are rich, but the pleasure isn't yours. Everything you touch tonight belongs to someone more powerful. The food, the drink, even the gold cups you wash with your lips. You sip the leftover wine, red spiced bitter at the back of the throat. It makes your skin warmer, but not braver. The gods are watching, they say. Even in pleasure you must be humble, especially then. They told you Hathor sees everything at night, not like the sun god who burns and judges. Hathor watches with a smile. She likes beauty, she likes music, she walks among the dancers and blesses the drunk if they sway just right. You once saw a priestess fall during the offering. They didn't help her. They said the goddess had chosen her, taken her breath as a gift. You don't know what to believe. But when you dance, you imagine she's near, in the candlelight, in the laughter, in the way someone's hand lingers on your back just a moment too long. You believe in that, because if you don't, then what's left? The oil lamps are burning lower. That's when the danger begins. In the early hours the wine is gone, but the hunger stays, not for food, for something else. You hear it in the way voices grow sharper, in the eyes that forget you're real. Someone whispered about a guest who vanished after the last full moon. They say she was too beautiful, or too loud, or didn't kneel fast enough. Tonight, the stars feel closer than ever, and colder. You adjust your sash, smear coal under your eyes. You look into the bronze mirror. You hope it sees someone worth keeping. Because this night is long, and it's not over yet. You step onto the cool stone without making a sound. Your bare feet leave no mark, but you can feel the petals under your soles, soft crushed, some still wet with dew or perfume. The scent rises as you move, frankincense, myrrh, something sour beneath the sweetness, like fruit left too long in the sun. Two guards stand at the entrance, bronze-skinned tall still. They wear linen kilts, striped sashes, and paint beneath their eyes to ward off evil, or to look more like gods, maybe both. One has a jackal tattoo curling up his arm, disappearing under his collarbone. Neither speaks, neither looks at you, but you feel them see you. You keep your head low. Above you, hanging from the arch garlands, sway woven from lotus-blue cornflower strips of red-dyed leather. Someone has burned resins in the brazier just inside. The smoke coils into your throat. You swallow it like an offering. A whisper brushes past your ear. Not a voice, just the air moving, stirred by motion, deeper in the hall. You don't know who else has entered. You're not allowed to turn back and check. You weren't even told you were allowed to walk forward. But here you are. The light is strange. Not firelight, not exactly. There are torches and sconces, yes, but most of the glow comes from shallow clay bowls filled with scented oil. The flames lick gently low to the surface, barely flickering. It makes the room feel like it's holding its breath. The walls rise high, too high to see the top. They're painted with murals that shift as you move, dancers with gilded limbs, gods with falcon heads, priests pouring wine into the mouths of statues. You try not to stare. You try not to imagine being the one receiving that wine, or giving it. Ahead of you, a hallway longer than it should be. The farther you walk, the warmer the air gets. Not hot, not yet, but warm like breath, like someone has been waiting for you. Your sandals dangle from one hand. You weren't told to remove them. But no one enters this place with shoes. That's what the woman in the blue sash whispered when she handed you the vial of oil. Put this behind your ears, then walk. No sandals, no questions. You did as told. Your footsteps begin to echo as the chamber opens wider. Now you hear more than your own breath. There's a distant pluck of a string, a rhythmic thump, low and slow like a heartbeat through the floor. There's no one in sight, but something has shifted. On your left, a tall jar of wine resting in a carved lion's mouth. On your right, a bowl of dates arranged in a perfect circle. One of them is missing. You think of someone else's fingers just moments ago. Were they hungry, nervous? The scent changes again. Stronger now, musk and smoke. Your skin tightens. You feel the air moving over your collarbones, the place behind your knees, as if someone has just walked through you, as if you're the smoke. And then at last, a voice. Soft, male, young. You can't see him, but you feel it. A question, but not spoken aloud. Who are you tonight? Not your name. That doesn't matter here. Just who you are. Tonight. You breathe in, slowly. The petals beneath your feet have given way to silk now. A runner laid across the stone, deep red, threaded with gold, worn thin by years of careful steps. You keep walking, because the doors have already closed behind you. And whatever this place is, temple, palace, illusion, it has accepted your presence. At least for now. The plane is lower than you expected. It isn't a throne, not a pedestal. It's meant for lounging for long nights, for hours spent in half conversation and half dreams. The wood is smooth, inlaid with ivory. The cushions look soft, but when you sit, they sigh beneath you, not from weight, but from memory. Others have sat here before, many. You don't know where to place your hands. Someone across the room laughs, not cruelly, but with the ease of someone who belongs. You glance up, and that's when you see them. Eyes. Not one pair, not two, many. You feel them before you meet them. Their gaze doesn't shout, it lingers. It hums just beneath your skin, a quiet suggestion that your presence has been noted. You are part of the entertainment now, whether you move or stay still. Some eyes slide over you like warm oil. Others flick sharp and quick judging from behind coal-lined lids. There are faces you don't recognize, painted powdered, adorned with lapis or obsidian beads. Some wear collars so wide their shoulders must ache beneath them. Others wear almost nothing at all. A woman across from you reclines on her own Klein arm, draped lazily across the backrest. Her robe slips down one shoulder, intentionally or not. She watches you with amusement, like she knows how new you are, like she remembers what it was like to be new. You look away. Beside you, a servant appears silently, his feet bare, his eyes lowered. He places a cup near your knee, alabaster thin, as eggshell filled with wine the color of bruised fruit. The rim is wet. You wonder who drank first. You wonder if you're meant to sip it. You don't ask. Music hums somewhere behind you. A harp maybe, or a lyre plucked slow, as if hesitant to fill the space. The melody isn't meant to distract. It's meant to seep in, unnoticed, until your heartbeat matches its rhythm. You shift on the Klein, careful not to let your knees knock the tray. The position is awkward, leaning propped up on one elbow the way they do in murals. But your arm isn't used to it. It trembles slightly. You hope no one notices. They do. From the corner of your eye, someone raises a cup in your direction. Not a toast to test. You mimic the motion, slow, fingers delicate on the stem. You don't drink. Neither do they. The moment passes. You try to relax your shoulders. Behind the colonnade, figures drift like ghosts. Some wear masks gold wooden, shaped like jackals or lions. One mask has no mouth, just hollow eyes and the suggestion of a nose. The person beneath it moves with purpose, carrying a tray of small round cakes. No one touches them. To your right, a man leans in close to another. They whisper in a language you almost understand. You catch a word Nedjeret goddess, then another Shesep to receive. You don't know who is the goddess here. Maybe no one. Maybe everyone. The woman across from you hasn't looked away. Her fingers now tap the edge of her Klein in rhythm with the music. Not an invitation, not yet, but a warning maybe. She knows the script. You're still reading the first page. The wine smells stronger now. You glance down at the alabaster cup again. The surface ripples slightly. Not from your hand, from the floor. The drums have started. Just one for now. A soft thump, steady as breathing. The servant has vanished. The eyes have not. Someone coughs polite but pointed. You realize your legs are crossed incorrectly. You adjust. This position, this posture, it's part of the language. One wrong angle speaks too loudly. One glance too long says too much. Still, you can't help but look. The woman across from you, the masked figure, the man with the whisper. They are watching you, not with malice. With expectation. You are no longer entering. You have arrived. It starts with a single note. High, soft, floating like something lost or something returning. At first, you think it's the wind through the columns. But no, it's a flute. A long, narrow pipe, carved from bone or ivory or something older. The sound winds through the hall, slipping between voices, brushing against skin like a feather dipped in memory. You stop moving. Everyone does. Not all at once. There's no signal, no announcement. But one by one, conversation fades. Laughter pauses mid-breath. Cups hover near lips, untouched. The music takes hold gently like a hand on your shoulder. The woman across from you closes her eyes. Her fingers no longer tap the Klein. They rest still and pale. You feel your chest rise slower. Your throat tightens without pain. You weren't holding your breath, but now you wonder, what if you do? What if you stay utterly still? Would the music notice? Would it come closer? The flutist is hidden, somewhere beyond the curtain. You imagine him seated, cross-legged, eyes shut, lips barely parting. Or perhaps she stands atop a small platform, unseen, blindfolded, playing not for the room, but for something inside it. The notes rise and fall like a prayer no one speaks aloud. You know this isn't just music. Not here. Not tonight. You shift slightly on the cline. The cushion exhales beneath you. That sound, too, is swallowed by the flute. You glance sideways. A man 3 couches down has tears in his eyes. He isn't sobbing, just listening. But something has come loose behind his expression. Another woman lifts her arm slowly, not to wave, not to speak, just to trace a shape in the air. Maybe a name, maybe a god, maybe the path of the moon. No one stops her. You feel heat on the back of your neck, not from flame, from presence, as if the air behind you has thickened, taken shape. You want to look. You don't. Instead, you close your eyes. The flute draws nearer. You can't hear footsteps, but the music bends, wraps itself around you. You smell something sharp cedar. Honey wine sweat. Your pulse slows. You're no longer in a hall. You're not on a cline. You are floating alone in a corridor of sound. Someone whispers something beside you, but the flute steals the words before they land. When you open your eyes, the room is darker. No lamps were extinguished, but shadows have grown. Faces blur at the edges. The walls shimmer slightly, not with heat, but with suggestion. The music has changed. It's deeper now, slower, like something searching. You feel it inside your chest, not pain, not longing, just a vibration you didn't invite. It lingers between your ribs. It makes your eyes sting. No one speaks. Not because they're forbidden, but because they're being spoken to. The flute rises one last time, a high, aching note. Then silence. Real silence. It doesn't rush in. It waits, holds. You blink, a single breath, and the room breathes with you. You hear her before you see her. A faint swish of fabric or skin brushing the floor. The sound of anklets not jingling, but gliding. A hush falls over the hall, not sudden, but deep, like breath being drawn and held. Then she appears, not from behind a curtain, not through the center. She steps from the edge of the room where shadows pool like ink, and for a moment, no one moves. No one needs to. She doesn't walk, she glides. Her skin gleams, not with sweat or oil, with gold, brushed on in layers, careful, seamless, like her body was molded, not born. The light touches her, and for a heartbeat, she's not human at all. A statue, a vision, a warning. You forget your posture. She wears almost nothing. Thin strips of cloth hang from her waist, not to hide but to decorate. Her chest is bare, painted with spirals of red and blue over gold. Her eyes are kohl-lined and heavy lids half lowered. She does not look at anyone, yet everyone is certain she's looking at them. She is the kind of silence people worship. The musicians do not play. The servants do not move. Even the candles seem to burn more quietly. She walks between the clines unhurried, and the scent of her arrives a moment before her presence. Cinnamon saffron, something metallic beneath. When she reaches the center of the hall, she turns. Slow, fluid, a motion practiced not in mirrors, but in firelight and memory. She raises both hands. Her fingers spread like branches or wings or something breaking open. You expect music to follow it, doesn't. There's no need. She begins to move. Not a dance, not exactly. She turns her hips, shifts her weight, rolls her shoulders in waves that start somewhere deeper than her muscles. Her gold skin ripples, catches the light, sends it scattering across the walls like broken prayers. You don't realize you're leaning forward. The man beside you is weeping. Quietly, his hands are clasped so tightly, his knuckles bloom white. You've never seen grief in response to beauty, but here it makes sense. The woman moves faster now, not with urgency, but with power. Her feet remain soft on the stone, but her presence expands, like heat, like tide. You wonder who she is. Not her name. No one here needs names, but who she used to be. A servant, a priestess, a sacrifice. Or maybe she was always this. She spins once, just once, and when she stops, her face is turned towards you. And this time she is looking. Her gaze doesn't accuse, it doesn't invite, it simply knows. Knows how long you've been watching, knows how hard your heart is beating, knows you are not ready for what comes next. And then, just as slowly as she came, she steps back. The circle of her dance collapses. The silence begins to breathe again. The gold dims. The spell loosens but does not break. She disappears the same way she arrived. Not gone, just elsewhere. You let out a breath you didn't realize you'd held. And when you glance down, you see a single flake of gold dust on your wrist. You don't wipe it away. The room shifts again, not with movement, but with mood. You feel it before it's visible, a thickness in the air like mist laced with heat. The kind that settles on your shoulders like a cloak you didn't ask for. The kind that smells of spice and skin and something rotting sweet beneath. There's a sound near your ear, a hiccup or a laugh, then a cough. You turn your head. He's already there, a priest or someone dressed like one. His robes are dyed deep red, the color of dried blood or crushed hibiscus. His hair is slicked back, oiled, and bound in gold thread. One eye is lined thicker than the other. His lips are stained dark. He holds a jug. It tilts with every sway of his body. You wonder how much is still inside, and how much is inside him. He doesn't stumble, but the ground moves beneath him all the same. He stops in front of you, looks at your face like he's seen it before in a dream. Then slowly, theatrically, he dips 2 fingers into the jug. The wine clings thick, trailing down his wrist. He raises his hand, and without asking, without ceremony, without pause, he anoints you. First your forehead, then the top of your head, then behind your ears. The wine is warm, sticky, fragrant with spices you can't name, cloves, cardamom, something bitter and buried. It runs down your temple, behind your ear, down your neck. You don't move. You don't breathe. He leans in so close you smell the sour edge of his breath, and he whispers something not meant for language. The syllables slur together, part chant, part lullaby, part warning. Then he says it clearly this time. Hathor sees you. He smiles, not kindly, not cruelly, just deeply, like the smile isn't for you at all, but for someone watching from behind your eyes. Drink nothing else, he adds softer. This is enough. Then he raises the jug above his own head, tips it back, lets the wine pour over his face, into his mouth, down his robe. Gasps ripple through the hall. Someone laughs, someone claps once slow. He doesn't wipe his face. He just bows low, wobbly, and moves on. A trail of red footprints follows him, sticky, shining, disappearing. You sit frozen wine, drying on your skin, breath shallow, heart too loud. You want to ask someone if that was real, if that happens every night, if you've just been marked, but no one looks at you. Except one woman across the room, the same one from before. She raises her cup, and this time she drinks. So do you. You rise from the cline. Not with purpose, not with command, just instinct. Your legs move before your mind gives permission. The floor greets your feet, like an old secret, smooth, warm in some places, strangely cold in others. You step forward into the soft thrum of music that has returned slower now, sleepier. You don't know where you're going. You just know you need to move. Behind you, the air shifts. No voice calls your name. No hand reaches to stop you, but you feel it a tug at the base of your spine, like a string tied there, like something watching, pulling, choosing not to act. Yet, you pass by a marble basin filled with rose water. The petals are bruised. One sticks to your ankle. You don't brush it off. You want to feel anything that proves you're still real. The hall narrows. The ceiling drops. Here the torches burn lower, casting the walls an orange breath. The murals change to less divine, more human. People dance here. People cry. A woman kneels with her hands raised. A man lies at her feet laughing or dead. It's hard to tell. Your shadow twists beside you, longer than it should be. You stop. Not because of the painting, not because of the air, because of the feeling. Someone is behind you. You don't hear footsteps. You don't hear breathing. But you know. Your skin knows. That tightness between your shoulder blades, that weight just beneath the surface of your neck. It's not fear, not exactly. It's being seen. You turn slowly, deliberately. The corridor is empty, but the torches flicker as if someone just passed. You look up. The wall on your left has a high slit, a viewing window perhaps, or something older. A sliver of black stares back, too narrow to hold a face, wide enough for an eye. You take a step back. There's a bench to your right, carved from a single piece of stone. Someone has sat here recently. A fold of fabric remains, red with embroidery of pomegranates, still warm. You sit. Because if someone is watching, better to be still than to wander. Better to let them look than to seem like you're hiding. Your breath returns in shallow waves. The music is softer now, a slow pulse behind stone and silence. A whisper, you walked well. You freeze. The voice isn't loud, it isn't near. It lives somewhere between thought and sound, just enough to make you doubt it came from outside. You wait, nothing follows, but the petals on your ankle gone. You stand again, slowly this time, not from fear but from something thinner, more fragile, the sense that the floor might vanish if you move too quickly. The air here is cooler, less perfumed, the torches further apart. You follow the faint sound of fabric brushing stone, the flutter of footsteps that don't run, but don't linger either. Then you hear it, laughter. Not loud, not the kind meant to draw attention. It bubbles up lightly, like a secret shared in the dark, almost childlike, almost cruel. You follow. A narrow colonnade opens to your left, half ruined its roof, missing in parts. Moonlight spills in thin silver lines across the floor. You step into the corridor. Your shadow joins others already there. They stand just ahead. 4 figures, maybe 5 women or girls or something between, draped in gauze hair braided with beads that catch the moonlight. They sway like reeds in shallow water, half real, half reflection. One leans against a pillar, head thrown back, giggling at something you didn't hear. Another bends close to her ear, whispering, fast fingers dancing in the air, as if drawing shapes only they can read. None of them notice you, or maybe they do but pretend not to. You don't speak, you don't dare, you simply watch. A third one turns her head, not fully, just enough to suggest awareness. Her face is mostly hidden, painted, or masked, or shadowed. Her hands lift to her lips as if to shush something, or someone. And then all at once they stop. The laughter dies. The movement ceases. Every head turns. Toward you. Not in anger, not in welcome, just turned. Still, for a breath, maybe two. You open your mouth to apologize, to explain you're not sure what for. But before a sound escapes, they vanish. Not in smoke, not in magic, just gone. A flicker of silk, a brush of wind, and the colonnade is empty. You step forward, touch the pillar where one had leaned. It's still warm. On the ground, a bead. Red glass small as a tear. You pick it up. It hums faintly in your hand as if remembering laughter that no longer belongs to it. You don't know whether to keep it. So you press it into the fold of your sash and walk on. The hall narrows again. You follow a turn in the stone path where the torches grow thin and blue. Someone has mixed resin into the flames. The smoke curls differently here. Slower, thicker. You pass under an arch carved with eyes. Not human eyes, wide, exaggerated, staring outward from the stone. Each one different. Some half closed, some weeping. One cracked open just enough to show a spider's web inside. And there beneath them sits the bowl. It rests on a low pedestal. Simple, uneven, made of black stone polished so smooth it catches the flame's reflection like water. Inside wine and petals, a slice of pomegranate swollen and glistening, something that looks like honey. And in the center, unmistakably, a single human tooth. You stop breathing. Beside the bowl, a small blade, dull but ceremonial. Its handle is wrapped in linen, stained dark at the edges. There's a spot beside it empty, but shaped with purpose, waiting. A figure steps from the shadow. You didn't hear them approach. You didn't feel them watching. But they were there. A woman, maybe, robe's heavy hood, drawn eyes lined with kohl that stretches like wings. She says nothing. She doesn't gesture, but she looks at you. Then at the bowl, then at your hair. Your fingers move on their own. You reach up, pull a single strand, dark, fine, still warm from your scalp, and hold it above the bowl. It doesn't feel like your choice, but it doesn't feel wrong either. You let it fall. The strand drifts slow as ash and lands gently beside the pomegranate. It curls into the wine, darkens, disappears. The woman lowers her head. A bow, or a judgment, you can't tell. Then she vanishes into the corridor again, her footsteps swallowed by the walls. You remain still. The bowl is quiet now, but you feel it. Not watching, not demanding, just remembering. You look down. The reflection of your face in the wine is broken by the tooth, the petal, the blade. You step back, and the eyes above you blink. The music returns like a breath you didn't know you'd lost. Not from far away, it's here now, close, alive. Drums slow and low rising from the floor like thunder, still deciding whether to fall. A rattle shells or beads joins in. Then a string tense and trembling pulled with purpose. And feet? You hear them before you see them. Bare soles tapping stone, soft at first, then stronger, a rhythm older than language. You follow the sound. A wide chamber opens ahead, circular, open to the night sky. The stars hang heavy above, like coins pressed into velvet. Torches line the perimeter, flickering against smooth columns painted with scenes of dance and desire. In the center, they move. 5, maybe 6 dancers, men, women, or neither. Their movements blur boundaries. They are adorned in linen sashes, ankle cuffs, necklaces of bone and shell, skin painted with spirals, and eyes suns and serpents. They dance in silence at first. Then one stomps, and the music changes. The beat quickens. Your heart does too. A woman in turquoise cloth spins arms wide. Her eyes are closed. Her feet strike the floor with such force the sound echoes beyond the chamber. Another twirls behind her, low to the ground like wind wrapped in flesh. Then someone reaches for you, a hand painted gold at the fingertips, extended open, waiting. Not a command, not a question, just a presence. You take it. The dancer pulls you in gently. Your bare feet find the cool stone. A heartbeat of hesitation. Then the first step. Left, right, turn. You follow, not well, not gracefully, but willingly. They don't laugh. They circle around you. One touches your wrist, another brushes your shoulder. You feel like water being poured into a different shape. The rhythm is strange. Not just 1, 2, 3. It breathes, it breaks, it changes. You try to keep up. You fail. But no one minds. The dancer who pulled you in begins to hum a deep sound, throaty and low. It fills your chest. Others join. The chamber fills with a harmony not meant for ears but for memory. Then the floor stings. You look down. A shard of something not glass, not stone. Sharp. You stepped on it. Your foot bleeds. But the music doesn't stop. Neither do you. Blood marks your steps. Tiny perfect prints. A new pattern on the stone. And still you dance. When the music fades, you stop dancing. Not because you're tired, not because you choose to, because everyone stops all at once as if a string has been cut. The breath you didn't realize you were holding escapes in a tremble. Your skin shines with sweat. Your feet ache raw and red, one still bleeding from the shard. But none of it matters. You're still standing. The others drift away, shadows retreating to the edges. Only one figure steps forward. He wears white linen pressed and folded into impossible angles. Not one thread out of place. His collar is stiff with beads. Blue gold obsidian arranged like the sun across his chest. But it's not the garment that holds you. It's the smile. Soft, wide, too wide. He doesn't blink when he looks at you. His eyes are deep set, rimmed with charcoal, but they do not twitch. He stares like he's reading something written across your skin. You try to bow, just slightly. Your body doesn't move, not out of fear. Something else, something quieter, like reverence or gravity. He tilts his head. You danced with blood, he says. His voice is low, smooth, like warm water over stone. You nod barely. He steps closer. You smell oil on his breath, not wine this time. Something thicker, resinous. Frankincense or myrrh, but spoiled somehow. He looks down at your foot, then back at your eyes. And you didn't stop. You try to speak. No sound comes out. His smile deepens, not cruel, not kind, just pleased. Then without warning he kneels, slowly, gracefully, as if he has all the time in the world. He takes your foot in his hands. They are warm, surprisingly soft. He doesn't clean the blood. He doesn't dress the wound. He simply presses his thumb into the cut. You gasp. Not from pain, from the heat. It flares through your leg like fire that forgets to burn. He draws a small circle on your skin with your own blood, just below the ankle. Then he looks up. There, he says, now you belong to the floor. You don't know what that means. But you nod. He stands, brushes nothing from his robe, and steps back into the dark. You're alone again. The music gone. The dancers gone, the circle empty, but the mark remains. And so does the smile burned into your memory like a sun that never sets. You follow the corridor without thinking. Your feet guide you, even the one that aches. Somewhere along the way, someone placed a strip of linen around it. You don't remember who. You didn't feel it happen, but it's there, warm, damp, and already stained red. The passage curves like a question. The walls narrow, then expand. You pass no doors, only veils. hung from ceiling to floor, woven from fine threads, some silver, some black, some impossibly thin and trembling as if breathing. You brush one aside and find yourself staring at yourself. But not the you expect. A bronze mirror wide as your shoulders stands propped against the wall. It catches your movement before your mind does. You tilt your head, so does it, but slower. Another mirror behind you, then another. You turn. The room is full of them. Not hung leaned, not polished, warped. Dozens. Some cracked at the corners, some stained with age, some too smooth, too new, too still. They don't reflect light. They reflect questions. You walk through them, and you become many. One version of you stands tall, proud. Another looks tired. One blinks too slowly. Another doesn't blink at all. The silence in the room is heavy, but not dead. It waits. You approach a smaller mirror. It's dented bent, like it once belonged to a traveler. You see your face smeared with sweat, rimmed in gold dust, a faint trace of wine near your mouth. You lift your hand. Your reflection does not. You stop breathing. Its eyes narrow. Yours stay wide. A soft sound behind you, a shift of cloth. You spin. No one's there. You turn back. The mirror shows you again. Ordinary, mirroring your fear. But you step back now, careful, slow. Another mirror to your right, this one long and thin, nearly the height of the wall. Your reflection in it is distant, blurred. But someone else stands behind you, a shape, not quite solid, tall, slender, no face. You turn, nothing. Turn back, still there. A woman's voice whispers near your ear. You can't make out the words, but the tone is soothing, familiar. You move toward the center of the room. The mirrors begin to lean ever so slightly inward, not enough to fall, but enough to suggest this space is watching you. You reach out to touch one, and your finger leaves no mark, but the mirror fogs, just for a moment. A shape appears drawn in the mist, a circle, a line, a slash. Then it fades. You step away. The mirrors do not follow, but you know one of them still holds your face. And it may not give it back. The mirror room releases you like breath after tension. You step into a new corridor, wider, warmer, filled with the low thrum of conversation. The quiet here is different. Not sacred, not eerie, just social, relaxed. But underneath, something pulses, like a drum hiding in the bones of the walls. You pass between two columns and re-enter the gathering space. Lamps glow golden, not red. Perfume thickens in the air, dates myrrh roasted nut skin. Somewhere someone plays a soft rhythm on a stringed instrument with calloused fingers. People are reclined on couches again, their bodies, loose eyes half-lidded. Cups are passed, heads tilted back. A woman nearby giggles, her voice round and soft, like a pomegranate split too soon. Then, louder, a burst of laughter. Real laughter, sharp, bright. It cuts through the hush like a pebble tossed into still water. You turn to see her. She's young, maybe 16, wrapped in green linen arms, bare bangles clinking as she moves. Her mouth open in joy, face flushed from wine. She laughs again, louder this time, then tries to quiet herself, too late. A dozen heads turn. Not all at once, just enough. Eyes narrow, lips still, conversations pause. The silence returns, but not kindly. The girl seems to realize. She lowers her cup, straightens her spine, smiles nervously, as if to apologize without words. A man approaches. You don't know where he came from. You didn't see him standing before. His robe is white, his face unreadable. He leans toward her, whispers something you don't hear. She nods quickly, says something in return, something light, maybe playful. Then she laughs again. But this time, no one else does. The man doesn't smile. He simply extends a hand, not open palm up, demanding. The girl hesitates, then takes it. He leads her away. No one stops him. No one calls her name. You follow them with your eyes. She glances back once, only once. And then they disappear behind a veil of blue cloth. Moments later, music resumes, laughter returns, but not hers. You wait. 5 minutes, 10. No one mentions her again. You ask yourself, did she break a rule? Was it the laughter, the tone, the timing? Or was she always meant to vanish and only delayed it by speaking too loud? The room is quieter now. Not by volume, the music still floats, the voices murmur, the cups clink softly. But something in the center has cooled, like the fire underneath it has died, and only the glow remains. You wander. No one stops you. There's a brazier in the corner, low-wide with a shallow dish set on top. Smoke curls upward from a slow-burning mound of something dark and sticky. Resin, you think, but not just any kind. It smells familiar. Not pleasant, not foul, just final. You've smelled it before, but only once. At a funeral. Not here. Not in this life, but in memory. Thick, bitter, sweet at the end like overripe fruit. It sinks into your throat, coats the inside of your mouth, clings to your skin. The kind of scent that doesn't wash away, not with water, not with time. You step closer. The smoke swirls tighter, as if aware. You look into the dish, inside small pieces of something blackened and charred. Bark, leaves, maybe petals, but also something else, a curl of hair shriveled, a sliver of bone, a faint crumbling thread of linen, burnt at the edge. Someone has mixed embalming spices into the offering. You realize what it is, not incense. Ritual. This is not for the living. It's not even for the gods. It's for them, the ones who've left or were taken. You kneel without meaning to. The smoke touches your face. It doesn't sting. It presses. A woman stands nearby watching, not with alarm, just presence. She holds a jar, small clay, sealed with wax. The seal is broken. She opens the lid, dips a finger inside, and offers it towards you. You lean in. She presses a mark just beneath your jaw. It's cold, then warm, then gone. You breathe out. And you see them, not with your eyes, with something behind them. Figures, pale, unmoving, draped in linen, their faces hidden beneath veils, their hands crossed over their chests, but their feet bare. They line the walls, dozens, hundreds, not angry, not vengeful. Just waiting. You blink. They're gone. The woman seals the jar, walks away. The brazier crackles softly behind you. The scent still clings. You rise, you walk. And now every time you breathe, you carry the perfume of the dead. There's a corner of the hall that no one speaks about. Not because it's hidden. It isn't. It's there plainly, a recess in the far wall where the light doesn't quite reach. But people avoid it. Not obviously. They walk near but never toward. Their eyes slide past it like oil on stone. You don't know why you go. But your steps take you there, quiet, barefoot. The bandage around your foot has loosened, dragging slightly, but you leave it on. It feels like permission. The air changes as you approach. Colder, not unpleasant, just strange, as if the corner doesn't share the same temperature as the rest of the room. Then you see him. A small statue, squatting, smiling. Not a grand god, Not Horus, not Ra. Something else, something older, short, wide-faced. Big eyes, thick lips, pulled into a grin, too wide for peace. Bees. The protector, the strange one, the god of birth of sex, of sleep of jokes of shadows, the household god, the last one you pray to before you close your eyes. He is carved from dark wood, worn smooth with touch. Someone has placed beads around his neck. A flower rests at his feet, dried. Next to it, a cup, still full. Wine, red, untouched. You kneel. Not out of reverence, out of instinct. The kind that comes from generations before you buried in your bones. You stare into his eyes. And he stares back. No command, no threat, just watching. As if he's waiting for you to say something, not with words, but with stillness. You pick up the cup. It's warm. You raise it to your lips. Pause. The wine is not meant to be drunk. You know that now. Not by the gods, not by the priests, not even by the dead. It's for the ones who enter, and leave different. You tip the cup, not into your mouth, but onto the floor. A few drops. The liquid darkens the stone. B.E. smiles wider. Somewhere behind you, laughter rises. Familiar, wrong. You turn. The room is full again, bright again, but no one is near you. You look back. The statue has changed. Or maybe it hasn't. But there's now a mark beneath its eye. A single line. Like a tear. You don't remember how it got there. One moment your wrists were bare. The next there it was. A bracelet. Gold or something, pretending to be. Smooth, thick, solid. No clasp, no hinge, no seam. It wraps perfectly around your right wrist, just above the bone. You don't remember anyone giving it to you. No touch, no glance, no ceremony. But it's there, and it's tight. Not painfully, not yet, but enough that you feel it, constant, heavy in a quiet way, as if your hand is no longer entirely yours. You sit down slowly on the edge of a stone bench, veiled by hanging linens. Your fingers run along the bracelet's curve, searching for a gap. A latch, anything? Nothing. Just metal warm from your skin, but colder beneath. The inside is etched with something. Not words, not symbols, lines, curves, repeated marks that don't quite touch. You press your thumb against them. They don't hurt, but they hum. You try to twist the bracelet. It doesn't move. You pull. It doesn't budge. It fits too well. Across the room, a woman watches. Her dress is translucent, her arms layered in similar bangles, not matching, not even symmetrical, but worn with certainty. She smiles faintly when she sees you struggling. She raises her wrist, taps one of her bracelets, then points to yours, then shakes her head slowly. Not no, just never. You lower your hand. The bracelet grows warmer. You try to remember when you last saw your bare wrist. Before the dance, after the priest, the mirror room. It blurs. Time is softened here. You stand, walk a few steps, the weight follows. It doesn't hurt, but it doesn't forget you either. Someone passes, a tall figure, draped in leopard-skinned face, painted like a skull. They glance at the bracelet, then away, too quickly. You want to ask, what does it mean? But the music returns. The drums pick up again. The flutes slither back into the air. And you realize no one will take it off. Not for you. You were chosen, or marked, or claimed. The difference doesn't matter now. The bracelet stays. You hear the voice before you see him. A single tone held too long. Then another. It's not melody, not quite, but it reaches you. It wraps around your ears like fog, not entering pressing. You follow. Through the veil, past the columns, down a short flight of shallow steps. The air changes again, cooler now, and quieter. Not still, but waiting. There he is, an old man, sitting cross-legged on a mat woven from reeds. His back is curved like a question. His hands rest on his knees. He wears no jewels, no paint, no priest's robe. Only a faded cloth around his shoulders, stitched with thread too pale to read. His eyes are shut. His mouth moves. Not chanting, not singing, something between. His voice carries words you don't know, a language that sounds wet with memory. The syllables melt together, slipping through one another like water through cracks in stone. You try to focus, try to pull a meaning from the rhythm, but it isn't made for understanding. It's made to be heard. You sit instinctively, legs folded back straight. The stone beneath you is cold and smooth. You place your hands on your thighs, mirroring him. His song rises slightly, not louder, but higher. Then it dips, then it falls. Then it stops. Silence. He breathes in through his nose, deep, slow, and opens his eyes. They are clouded, but not blind. They see you. And he speaks softly. They forget you when you stop moving. You don't answer. You're not sure you're meant to. He continues. They forget your name, your voice, your shape. They leave your plate untouched. They stop carving your face. He lifts a hand, not toward you, toward the wall beside him. You follow his gesture. There, etched into the stone, are names, dozens, hundreds, carved in lines that tilt downward, faint fading, some nearly erased. He points to one. No one speaks that one anymore, he says, but I do. His voice drops again. The song returns. This time it's a lullaby. It rocks you, back and forth inside your bones. You close your eyes and see faces, not yours, not his. Others, women with downcast eyes, children holding fruit, a man with no mouth, a girl laughing too loud, a figure holding a mirror that reflects nothing. Forgotten, but now, just for a moment, remembered. Because someone still sings. The song ends. You open your eyes. The old man is gone. The mat is empty. Only the echo remains, and the wall. You stand. You find a blank space between the fading names. And without knowing why, you reach out and trace your fingertip across it. The music grows distant as you move deeper into the palace. You pass beneath a low arch into a corridor that smells of damp earth and crushed leaves. The walls here are not painted. They are stone bare, worn smooth by wind and time. Ahead, the air shifts. You emerge into a courtyard, or what remains of one, a small garden enclosed by broken columns and silent vines. Moonlight spills in strips, filtered through the fronds of palm and papyrus. The ground beneath you is uneven, parts tiled, parts soil, parts forgotten. There is no sound, no flute, no laughter, no voices. Just insects and the soft hush of night. You step forward. The dirt is cool under your feet. The scent of mint and myrrh lingers faint and fading. You kneel near a bush of flowering reed, unfamiliar but strangely comforting. You touch a petal. It crumbles beneath your finger. Then you see them, 2 figures. At first, they seem like statues, still backlit by moonlight. One taller, one smaller. They stand side by side near the far wall in a patch of shadow where the trees lean close and the air folds in on itself. They don't speak. They don't move. You watch. The taller one has their arm around the other's shoulder, not forcefully, gently, protectively, or possessively. You can't tell. The shorter one is turned away, not hiding, just turned. You feel something you can't name. A hush, but deeper. A stillness that isn't peace. You take a step toward them. No reaction. Another step. Still nothing. You reach the edge of the shadows and stop. Because now you see they don't cast shadows of their own. The moonlight hits them directly. But nothing falls behind. You take a breath. It feels shallow. Then the taller figure turns their head, slowly, deliberately. Their face is featureless. Not masked, not hidden. Just blank, like stone before it's carved. You stumble back. The garden doesn't react. The trees don't rustle. The figures don't follow. You leave, not running, not walking, just leaving. The scent of crushed mint trails behind you. You don't look back. But for the rest of the night, whenever you step into moonlight, you check to see if your shadow is still there. You re-enter the hall through a narrow passage, half covered in vines. The air shifts again, warmer, perfumed, heavier with the scent of sweat and wine that's been left too long in silver cups. The lights have dimmed, not gone, just turned inward, like eyes half closed in sleep. Torches burn lower, some sputter. The flames don't reach the corners anymore. The night has deepened, or the palace has. You walk slowly now, not because of pain, not because of fear, because of knowing. The knowing that something is behind you. Not footsteps, not whispers. Just a presence. A heat close to the skin, but not touching. A tension that rises at the base of your neck, across your shoulders, down your spine. Your breath shallows, your hands tremble. And then it happens. A hand. Gentle, careful, the weight of fingers brushing the back of your neck just where your hairline begins. You freeze. The hand lingers, doesn't grip, doesn't press, just rests. You feel the temperature of it not hot, but intentional. Like the hand knows exactly what it's doing, what it means. You want to speak, but the air in your throat turns thick. Your eyes dart left, then right, searching for a reflection, a witness, a god. Nothing. Just torchlight flickering on gold-painted walls. Just silence. The hand lifts. No pressure, no resistance. It's gone. You turn. There's no one. The corridor is empty, utterly. And yet the skin on your neck remembers. You reach up, touch the spot. It tingles, slightly damp. You lower your hand and find gold dust on your fingertips. Not a dream. Not a trick of scent or shadow. Someone or something touched you. Not to harm, not to welcome, just to remind you. You are being seen, not always, not constantly, but precisely when it matters. The hall is full again, or maybe it never emptied. Maybe your journey was just a few steps in a dream while the others remained reclining, laughing, pouring, watching. You return to your Klein. It's been waiting for you. The cushion is still warm, the folds in the cloth unchanged. The cup you left behind, now refilled. You sit. No one says your name. No one acknowledges your absence. But someone passes you a plate, fig soft cheese, a drizzle of honey. Your fingers tremble as you reach for it. Then it happens. The elbow of the man beside you jerks, a careless laugh, an excited gesture, and the cup in his hand slips, tilts, falls. Wine spills, directly onto your lap. The liquid is red, deep, not fresh aged, heavy with spice. It soaks the linen instantly. Warm at first, then cold. A slow creeping cold. Silence. Not the whole room, just around you. A pocket of held breath. The man gasps. "Forgive me," he says. His voice is loud, too loud. You don't move. The wine crawls across your skin. He grabs a cloth, reaches to dab at the stain, then hesitates. His hand hovers. He looks to someone behind you. You follow his gaze. A woman stands, cloaked in sheer blue, her face veiled, her hands clasped. She nods once. The man pulls back. He does not touch you. No one does. You look down. The wine has spread in a strange pattern, not a stain, a symbol, an accidental sigil, like a blooming eye or a flame. Someone nearby whispers unlucky. Another voice. It means the gods noticed. Someone else, she'll be taken. Your chest tightens. Taken where? Taken how? You try to speak, you don't. A servant appears, places a cloth in your hands. You dab the linen. It's too late. The color will not fade. The mark will not disappear. You eat nothing. You drink nothing. But you remain, because to stand would be louder than the spill. And tonight, noise has a cost. The music returns slowly. Not from the center of the room, from the edge. A single flute, pale and slender, lifted to a pair of painted lips. The flutist is young, slight, wrapped in linen so light it seems to flicker in and out of being. He stands on a raised stone step, apart from the dancers, apart from the tables, alone and above. The first notes are thin, delicate. They float like candle smoke, touching the ears, gently asking permission. You listen. Everyone does. His fingers move fast, skilled, practiced. He's not playing a melody, he's weaving something. The sound moves in spirals, climbs. The wall spills across the floor like a second atmosphere. And then he stumbles. Just a step, but it catches the eye. His body sways, his elbow jerks. The flute drops a half note too soon. A few guests look up. He steadies himself, continues. The tune shifts deeper, now slower, less precise. It bends in places like it's melting. He sways again. You rise slightly off your cline, lean forward. The flutist's eyes are closed, but his brows furrow. A wince, his lips tremble. He inhales sharply, too sharply, and exhales a burst of wrongness. The note breaks. The air goes flat. And then he falls, straight down. No arms extended, no effort to soften the landing, just collapse. Like a puppet with its strings cut. The flute clatters on stone, a sharp sound. It doesn't roll. Silence spreads outward. Not panic, not surprise. Something older. The kind of silence that follows a known pattern. A woman gasps softly. A man mutters again. You look around. No one moves toward him. He lies still. You rise, but someone catches your eye, a priestess maybe, or a servant dressed too richly. She shakes her head, barely, once. So you stop. Minutes pass. The flutist does not rise, but no one steps over him. No one steps around. They wait. And eventually, two figures appear, robes of unmarked black, no faces visible. They lift him gently, precisely, and carry him away. One holds the flute, wrapped in cloth, like something sacred or contaminated. They vanish through a curtain near the eastern wall. The music does not resume, not tonight. You sit again, and the mark of where he fell remains on the floor, a perfect outline of silence. The hall is dimmer now, not from fire, but from fatigue. Even the laughter has softened, stretched into yawns between songs. Dancers recline instead of spin. The wine flows slower. You stay seated. A girl passes by young, maybe 13, with a tray of dried fruit and flower petals. She offers none, just walks in a practiced pattern. Her feet don't make a sound. You notice something as she turns her head. Her mouth is slightly open. And inside gold. Not a tooth, not a jewel. A thin square of beaten gold leaf resting on her tongue. You blink. She looks away. You rise slowly and follow. Not too close. She slips between two columns near the edge of the room, a corner you hadn't noticed before. Behind it, a small chamber lit only by oil in shallow bowls, their flames trembling like they're about to die. You step through. It's quiet here, heavy with heat, the scent of cardamom, and something sharper metal, or salt. There are others. Kneeling, still, mouths open, each with a square of gold on their tongue. They do not speak, they do not blink. A woman in white walks among them, barefoot, a bowl in her hands. She stops before each one leans close, whispers something inaudible, and moves on. You watch her reach a new initiate, a boy, maybe 16. He hesitates. The woman holds up the square. Thin, delicate, nearly weightless. He opens his mouth. She places it carefully on his tongue, then presses her thumb to his forehead. He bows. No sound, no movement. Just breath soft and rhythmic. You take a step back. The woman looks up, sees you. She does not smile, but she raises the bowl. There's one square left. She holds it toward you, not insistently, not inviting, just offering. You hesitate. You step forward. You kneel. The gold is cool. It rests on your tongue like nothing at all. Then warmth spreads, from your mouth to your throat to your chest. Not fire, not pain, but weightlessness. Your body softens, your breath deepens. You forget why you ever needed words, and in the stillness that follows, you understand. Silence is not absence. It is offering. The silence after the gold is deep, sacred. You feel it cling to your skin like ash. You return to the main hall or something like it. By now, every space feels unfamiliar, or maybe just changed. The lights are dimmer, the people fewer, the music slower, a single harp plucked lazily in the dark. You sit. No one speaks. No one needs to. And then a sound cuts through the air like a knife through wet cloth. A scream. High, piercing, animal. A cat. The room freezes. The sound echoes unnatural in a place so full of walls and silk. You hear it again closer, sharper. A howl made of teeth and fire. Then silence. Someone whispers past. You turn your head slowly. Across the room, a white cat perches on the edge of a column base, its back arched, fur raised, eyes wide and golden. It stares at a spot in the air, not a person, not a thing. A spot. Empty. You blink. The cat does not. Then it hisses, long, low, guttural. It steps back, still watching the same invisible space. A man rises from his seat. He bows to the cat, then leaves, quietly, head low. No one follows him. The cat sits again, licks its paw. The moment folds in on itself. Conversation resumes. The harp continues. But you know no one has forgotten. The scream still vibrates in your chest. You realize something then. In this place, the gods don't always enter through doors. Sometimes they enter on 4 feet. Sometimes they scream. There had been a man. You're sure of it. You saw him when you first entered, seated 2 clines from yours. Broad shoulders, clean-shaven head, rings on every finger. His voice was deep, his laughter warm. He spoke to everyone, drank with everyone. Now he's gone. No one says his name. No one asks where he went. You try to remember the last time you saw him. Was it before the girl laughed too loud, before the priest pressed blood to your skin, before the music broke and the flutist fell? You think he stood once to toast something, or someone. His voice boomed. Everyone raised their cups. Then, nothing. You rise quietly and walk the edge of the room. His seat is empty. The cushion still bears his shape. His cup sits half full. His sandal, just one, lies beneath the bench, untouched. You pick it up. It's warm. You glance around. No one looks at you. No one notices. You carry the sandal into the next chamber, a smaller room draped in hanging shells. The sound they make is soft, like breath through bone. There are couches here too, more private, half hidden behind curtains. You lift one. Empty. Another. Empty. Then one more. A mark. Not blood, not wine, not ink. A print of a hand pressed into the cushion. Large, defined, still damp. But no one's there. You return to the main room, set the sandal down, and sit again. No one fills his space. No one touches his food. No one says his name. It's as if he was never there, but you remember. You remember the way he laughed, the sound of his bracelets when he clapped, the way he said, "They'll remember me here." And maybe he was right. But only if you don't forget. You find the fountain by accident. It hums behind a curtain, not loudly, not insistently, just enough for your body to notice before your ears do. A low murmur, a trickle like breath passing over stone. You step through. The room is circular, small, quiet. In the center, a fountain of dark limestone carved with lotus petals and sunbursts. The bowl is wide, shallow, overflowing gently into a trench that winds along the edge of the room. The water should be clear, but it isn't. It's red, not wine, not dye. Red. You step closer. The surface is still. No bubbles, no ripples, as if the water has forgotten to move. The scent reaches you, next faint iron, like a cut from yesterday, like the inside of your mouth when you bite your lip too hard and pretend it doesn't hurt. You kneel, not because you want to, because everyone does. 3 others sit in silence beside the pool. 1 woman, 1 boy, 1 person whose face you never quite see. All quiet, all watching. You lower your head. The surface shifts, not from wind, not from movement. From attention. Your face reflects in the red, pale, tilted, smaller than you remember. Then, beside it, another reflection. Eyes, not yours. You raise your head, look around. The others remain still. You look back. The eyes are gone. But now, there is a ring of red around your wrist, not from the water, not from the bracelet, from nothing you can explain. A 4th person enters. They carry a small bowl. They dip it gently into the fountain. The liquid fills it silently. They walk to the boy. He opens his mouth. They pour. He drinks. He does not flinch. Then they turn to you. You shake your head. You expect a reaction, a command, a punishment. None comes. They nod a small, slow gesture and walk away. The water overflows once more. A single drop trails down the side and vanishes into the floor. The woman next to you whispers, "It was always blood." Then she smiles and leaves. The hall has quieted again. Not fully, the harp still hums a thread of sound through silk, but the voices have dulled to murmurs, half thoughts folded into breath. You walk slowly, not looking for anything, just letting your feet carry you where your name doesn't matter. Then a shift. Not in light, not in sound, in presence. You feel someone behind you, close. You turn gently. A woman stands there. You don't know how long she's been near. Her face is veiled not with cloth, but with gold chains, delicate and whispering. Her eyes are visible, dark, rimmed with green pigment. They blink slowly. She raises her hand. You don't step back. Her finger reaches forward and presses softly against your lips. Just one fingertip, not forceful, not asking. Just quiet. Her skin is cool. Your breath stops, not from fear, from recognition. She says nothing. She doesn't need to. The message is older than language. Do not speak here. You hold still. The moment stretches like silk pulled between two poles, trembling perfect. She withdraws her hand, steps back, then fades into the hanging curtains behind her, a rustle, a gleam, and then absence. You touch your lips. There's something there, not residue, not warmth, a silence. It lingers, it hums. You glance around. Everyone else continues as before, as if they didn't see her, as if they don't need to be warned. But you were, and now, whatever words you were carrying, even in thought, feel too loud to hold. You return to the main chamber. The music is softer now, a low pluck of strings, an occasional sigh of a reed pipe. The lamps have burned lower. Shadows lean longer than they should. You find your place again, though it no longer feels like yours. Then someone speaks. A man, older, dressed in robes too bright for this hour, too embroidered to be humble. He stands near the central klein, holding a cup, not of wine but of water, the kind used for washing, or for beginning. He smiles, not at anyone, at the space. And then he tells a joke. His voice is strong, his gestures grand. He speaks clearly, each word deliberate. His tone rises and falls with practiced ease, like someone used to being listened to. The joke is long, a story of a scribe, a donkey, and a miswritten prayer. You don't understand every detail. Some words are ancient, others local. But you know it's meant to be funny. The pacing tells you, the rhythm, the raised eyebrow at the end. He finishes, smiles wider, and waits. No one laughs. No one smiles back. Not in malice, not in judgment, just silence. Someone sips their drink. Someone adjusts a cushion. A woman looks down. The man's smile falters. Just a twitch. He lowers his hand, sets the cup down, tries to laugh himself. A chuckle, awkward, forced, but it fades too fast. He steps back and sits. Not on the klein he came from, on the floor. Cross-legged, quiet. His hands tremble. Someone passes him a small piece of cloth. He takes it, holds it, and wipes his eyes. You blink. You don't know when he started crying. You want to stand, to comfort, to say it was funny, or almost, or at least kind. But no one else moves. No one else sees him anymore. So you stay still and let the silence have its way. You needed air, or something like it, so you stepped away. Not far, just enough. Beyond the lamps, past the dancers who no longer danced, into the quiet where the shadows aren't decorations anymore, they're occupants. You find a side corridor, bare, narrow, lit only by the light of one single flame in a clay dish placed on the floor. You walk slowly. The stone under your feet is colder here, older, less polished, less meant to be seen. And then you see it, a block of limestone. Square, low, rough at the edges, it sits alone near the wall, as if placed without purpose. You don't remember seeing it before, but something about it feels familiar. You step closer. It doesn't seem remarkable. You've seen 100 like it, but your body disagrees. Your skin hums. The air feels thick. You glance down. There's a scuff across the floor. A faint drag mark in the dust, small, but visible in this dim light. A mark that says it wasn't always here. It was moved. Recently. You kneel, touch the edge. Warm. Not from the torchlight, from within. You try to shift it. It doesn't budge. You press your ear to it. You don't know why. At first nothing. Then a sound. Faint, distant, like whispering beneath water. You pull back. The corridor is still. You look down again and realize something else. The stone has turned. Only slightly. But you see it now. A new corner exposed. One that wasn't facing you a moment ago. You didn't move it, but it moved. You stand. Step back. And the torchlight flickers. The flame bends sharply, as if sucked toward the stone. Then returns. The air feels colder. You leave. Not running, not afraid. But aware. The stone is not a seat. Not a block. Not a mistake. It is a door, and something behind it is listening. You return to the central hall, or what remains of it. It feels smaller now. Or maybe you feel larger, heavier. The silence follows you like a shawl, woven from the threads of everything you've seen, everything you haven't spoken aloud. The music has stopped. There is no harp, no flute, no drum, no laughter, no speech. But they're dancing, a circle of them, men, women, both, neither. Figures in translucent cloth and layered beads. Their movements are precise, slow, deliberate, like they are remembering the shape of something once sacred, now forbidden. Not a sound. You watch. The floor beneath them has changed, cleared, wiped, swept. A spiral pattern drawn in chalk or dust or ash. Their feet follow it without looking. You realize they aren't performing. They're participating. They're part of something older than the room. You don't dare speak. One of them, a tall woman with silver bracelets, turns her head, sees you, and raises her hand. A finger curls, just once. You step forward. The others make space. The spiral reaches toward you. One clear path. You take it. Your feet find rhythm without music. You move. No instruction. No applause. Just motion. Soft, slow, inward. The others shift to match you. You fall into orbit. Hands rise. Backs arch. Ankles bend. The circle turns. No one speaks. And yet you hear it, not with ears. With bones, a melody buried beneath time, beneath skin, a dance remembered by memory alone. You lose track of time, of breath, of self. You forget your name. You become motion. You become the spiral. And when the dance ends, if it ends, no one claps. They only bow their heads. One by one, the dancers drift away. You remain standing. The dust at your feet holds your steps. A new spiral now. Your own. He looked asleep. That's what struck you first. Not the position reclined, arms folded over his chest. Not the lighting, soft flickering gold. Not the stillness. But the peace. He looked asleep. You noticed him as you passed the fourth climb near the wall. You didn't mean to stop, but something about him pulled your gaze. The way his head tilted slightly, as if listening to something far away. A servant walked by. She didn't glance at him, just adjusted a cushion beside him's and kept walking. You moved closer. He didn't move. Not even a twitch. His chest still. You waited 10 seconds, 20. No breath. His skin had no color. Not pale, not gray, just absent. You looked around. No one noticed. No one mourned. You bent slightly. His lips were parted, like someone about to speak. A tiny gold bead rested on his tongue. His hands were painted with thin lines, not tattoos. Something newer. Something ceremonial. You looked down. A clay bowl sat beside him, empty. A faint scent lingered. Not wine, not incense. Lotus, and something bitter. You backed away. A soft voice behind you whispered, "He was chosen." You turned. A girl, barefoot, hair unbraided, eyes wide and calm. For what you asked. She didn't answer. She only said, "Don't touch the bowl." And disappeared. You looked again. The bowl was gone. So was the scent. But he remained, unmoving, unnoticed, unneeded. You sat nearby, not close enough to disturb. Just near, and watched. Not for breath, not for answers. Just in case, because someone should. It was just fabric. You told yourself that. Just silk, or linen, or something older dyed deep blue hanging from a brass ring, dividing one quiet hallway from another. But it moved. Not when the wind passed. Not when someone brushed it. It moved when you looked away. You saw it from the corner of your eye, a slow sway, deliberate, like a breath. Not a ripple, not a flutter. A gesture. You stopped walking. Watched. It hung still. You turned your back, counted silently to 5, and turned again. It was swaying. You stepped closer. It stilled. You whispered, "Hello." No answer. But the light shifted, dimmer now, as if the veil had swallowed it. You reached out, fingers just inches away from the cloth. And it pulled back. Not fully, just a little. Enough to suggest, not yet. You froze. You waited. A figure passed behind you, no footsteps, only the scent of cinnamon. They didn't speak, didn't turn, just passed. You reached again. The veil rippled not away this time, toward. You stepped through. The fabric brushed your shoulders, cold. Inside, nothing, just another hallway. Empty, silent. But on the floor at your feet, a feather. Small, white, clean. You picked it up. It trembled in your hand. The air behind you stirred. You turned. The veil had returned to stillness, but you knew. It had seen you and let you pass. Just this once. It came softly, like dust slipping through fingers, like the end of a dream you weren't ready to leave. A name. Yours. Almost. You didn't hear it out loud. It wasn't whispered behind a curtain. It wasn't chanted in the shadows. It just appeared, behind your breath, under your skin. You stopped walking. The sound of your steps faded, but the name remained a murmur without voice pulsing inside your ribs. It didn't sound like what you were called before you entered. It sounded older, heavier. You turned a corner. Stone gave way to cloth. The hallway narrowed. You stepped over a low threshold you don't remember crossing before. The name grew louder. Or closer. A servant passed, empty tray, bare feet. She didn't look at you. But as she passed, she whispered something. Not to you. To herself. Maybe to the wall. You caught one syllable. It echoed inside your chest. You froze. Because it felt right. Not familiar. Right. You whispered it yourself. It shook the air. Not loudly. Just enough for the flame in the nearest lamp to flicker. The space ahead opened into a chamber lit with golden bowls. The floor was soft dust, or ash, or petals, long since crumbled. A figure sat at the far end, cross-legged, waiting. You approached slowly. She looked up. You didn't recognize her face, but her eyes were yours, not in shape, not in color, in memory. You opened your mouth to speak. She raised a hand. Not to silence, to offer. Her palm held a thin tablet, clay still damp, marked with symbols you could almost read. You reached out and paused, because just before you touched it, the name returned. Fully, completely. And then vanished, gone. You looked at her. She smiled gently. You lowered your hand and walked away. Because some names aren't meant to be remembered. Not here. Not yet. It looked harmless. Just a fruit, round red gold resting on a bronze plate among offerings of bread dates and broken incense cones, slightly bruised on one side as if someone had already picked it up and set it down again. But you couldn't stop looking at it. You weren't hungry, not truly, but your mouth ached, not from emptiness, from wanting. The scent was faint, sweet like honey left too long in the sun, with something sharper beneath. You reached for it. Your fingers hesitated just above the skin. It was warm, too warm, like it had been sitting in the palm of someone's hand. You picked it up. The others around you didn't notice, or pretended not to. You turned the fruit slowly, one side smooth, the other indented, as if once bitten, and healed again. You took a breath, and bit. The skin gave way with a soft crack. Juice burst into your mouth, thick, rich, not like anything you expected. Not apple, not fig, not pomegranate. Something between. Your jaw locked for a moment, not in pain, in memory. The taste was familiar. You swallowed. It burned, not fire, not heat. Truth. Images surged behind your eyes. A column collapsing. A woman weeping in a pool. A mask falling to the floor with a sound like thunder and silk. Your knees buckled slightly. You placed the fruit down. It rolled on the plate. One circle, two, then stilled. The bite marks shimmered, the flesh already browning. You looked around. Nothing had changed, and yet everything had. Someone nearby looked at you, their mouth opened. but no words came out. You wiped your lips. The juice left a stain, not red, not gold, just something only you could see. And you knew you weren't supposed to eat it. But now that you had, you could never forget how it tasted. It came without warning. You were alone, or you thought you were, sitting near a carved column watching candlelight dance across stone. Your body was still, your breath steady. The night folded around you like silk. Then a voice, low, calm, ancient. And not yours. It came from your mouth. You didn't speak, not intentionally, but the sound left your throat shaped by your tongue passing your lips. A phrase you didn't understand. Or maybe you did. You clamped your mouth shut. Too late. The words were already out. You looked around. No one near, no one watching. The hall beyond remained unchanged, but inside you something had shifted. You touched your chest, your throat, your lips. It had been real. You try to remember what the words meant. You can't. Only the sound remains, smooth, hollow, like stone dropped into water, too deep to see. Then again, just one word. Out loud, from you. You don't know its meaning, but it tastes like metal and smoke. You cover your mouth with both hands. The air around you tightens. Behind you a curtain stirs. A servant walks past, pauses, glances your way. He says nothing, but his eyes linger on your lips. Then, softly, he whispers, "Don't answer back," and continues on. You remain frozen, not in fear, in wondering what had spoken through you, and what might happen if it speaks again. You didn't notice it right away, not like the first time the shard beneath your foot, the warmth spreading the trail of red that followed your dance. That had been obvious, necessary, almost sacred. This was quieter. You were seated again, near the edge of the room, where fewer people gathered now. The air was thicker, the lights dimmer. Someone poured wine in a slow, practiced arc. Someone whispered a story into no one's ear. You shifted slightly, felt something warm. You looked down, and there it was. A stain, small, bright, rising through the cloth at your hip, blooming like a flower underwater. You pressed your hand to it, confused. There was no pain, no injury you could remember. But when you lifted your fingers, red, still wet, still yours. You stood, slowly. No one looked at you. You stepped backward, away from the cline. The floor beneath your feet felt colder now, slick. You passed a polished vessel, saw your reflection. Your lips were pale, your eyes darker. You pressed your hand to the wound again. Still no pain. You remembered the bowl of blood, the gold leaf on your tongue, the bracelet you couldn't remove. You remembered the priest's thumb pressing into your ankle, the mirror that didn't return your face, the stone that turned by itself. And you knew this was the second time. Not the last. You found a curtain, slipped behind it. Silence. Stone wall, low lamp, nothing else. You sat, pressed your back to the cool surface, and breathed. The bleeding slowed, then stopped. You removed the cloth at your side. No wound, no mark, just the memory and the question it left behind. If your body still bleeds, but your skin never breaks. What part of you is being opened? It was late or early. You couldn't tell anymore. The lamps had burned low. Most guests had faded into corners, into silence, into memory. You wandered, not lost, just drifting. The palace no longer revealed itself in steps, only in moments. And then you saw them. Across the hall, seated on a cline once occupied by someone else. Wearing your face, not similar. Yours, same eyes, same lips, same tired tilt of the shoulders. They even held their cup the way you do fingers, resting just beneath the rim thumb, trailing the base. You froze. They looked at you. You blinked. They blinked. A mirror. No, you moved your hand. They did not. You stepped left. They remained still. Not a reflection. A stranger. Wearing your face, you approached slowly. Others noticed, or they should have. But no one looked, no one turned. The closer you came, the more impossible it became. Every detail right, even the mark on your wrist. Even the slight unevenness of your shoulders, they smiled. You didn't. They raised their cup as if to toast you. You opened your mouth. They shook their head. Just once. You stopped walking. And then a figure passed between you. A servant, carrying nothing. Gone in a second, but when they passed. The other you was gone. The cline was empty. The cup sat still, and your own hand. Trembling, not with fear. With recognition, you sat. Not on their cline, but near it. You touched your face. It felt the same. But now, you wondered, what else in this place had worn you? It had once been the loudest table. You remembered that. Voices like waves, laughter that spilled over cups, fingers snapping fruit shared mid-sentence jokes, retold with bigger gestures each time. It had been alive. Now it sat in silence. The cushions were still in place. The goblets half full, the bread untouched, stiffened slightly at the edges. But there were no people, not even servants clearing plates, not even the sound of chairs shifting. Just absence. You stood at the edge of the table. Your eyes traced the objects left behind: a sandal, hanging half off a bench, a scarf tucked beneath a jug, a gold ring sitting beside a plate, as if someone meant to return for it. You circled the space. Nothing had spilled. No marks of chaos, no trail, no sign of leaving. They were simply no longer there. You sat down. Just for a moment, just to feel the air. It was warm, as if someone had just leaned back. You looked across the table and found one plate still full. Meat dates a slice of fig, still glistening with honey. A place not abandoned held. You didn't touch it, but your hand hovered. The moment your shadow passed over the plate, the candle beside it flickered. A gust. No, a breath. You pulled back. Chairs creaked. But none moved. You waited. You whispered, "Where did you go?" No one answered. But a drop of wine slid down the side of a cup, slow, precise, like the table was remembering something. Or someone. You stood. Careful not to disturb anything, careful not to take anything. And as you walked away, you realized this table hadn't been left behind. It had been left in place, to wait. For who? You didn't know. But it might be you, one day. You noticed it from across the room, a curtain-pale linen dusted with gold hanging perfectly still in a place with no draft. At first, it was like all the others, soft, silent, shifting slightly, with the movements of the room. Until it didn't move. It held itself still. Too still. While others rippled with passing air or footsteps, this one remained poised, waiting. Then it inhaled. Not wind, not sway, a breath. The fabric lifted gently, as if pulled from beneath, then dropped, like lungs drawing in and releasing. You took a step closer. It didn't respond. Another step. Still, you reached out. The cloth shimmered in the lamplight, not metallic, alive. You paused, fingers inches away. And it exhaled. A soft pulse of warm air touched your hand, not from behind, from within. You pulled back, not in fear. In recognition. This wasn't fabric. This was skin, or memory pretending to be skin. The curtain lifted again, not high, just enough for you to glimpse darkness behind it, thick velvet black, not shadow, not hallway, absence. You crouched slightly and listened. No sound, but your own heartbeat. Then, from within, a single whisper, not words. Not a voice, a feeling. Come if you remember, wait if you've forgotten. You stood. Your hands trembled slightly. You didn't lift the curtain. Not tonight, but you turned to leave. And behind you, it breathed again, slower. Calmer, like it was going back to sleep. On your Klein, you were sure of it. It hadn't been there earlier. You would have remembered the color, the shape, the way it sat at the exact center of your plate, like a quiet decision already made. It wasn't an ordinary fruit. Round, yes, but not quite symmetrical. Its skin shimmered, not gold, not red, but somewhere between, like a fire half hidden by smoke. No bruise, no stem. Perfect and unfamiliar. You looked around. No servant near, no tray offered, no guest missing one from their own plate. It had appeared, or waited. You sat slowly. The cushion sighed beneath you. The fruit didn't move. You reached for it. The skin was warm. Not room warm, body warm. You pulled your hand back, and it rolled. Just a little, toward you. You didn't flinch, but the air around you seemed to. The lamp nearest your seat flickered. A petal drifted off a garland with no breeze. You picked it up. Light as breath, a faint scent, cinnamon honey, myrrh smoke. Your thumb pressed into the skin. It didn't resist. It opened, without splitting, without peeling. It just yielded. A soft seam formed across its top, and from within, nothing. No flesh, no seed, just darkness. A hollow, and from the hollow, a sound. Like breath, not yours? You placed it back on the plate. It rocked once. Then stilled. You did not eat it. You did not speak, but you knew this. That fruit was not food. It was an invitation. And you had already answered it by noticing. You'd passed this wall many times. Smooth limestone, carved with scenes of offering and joy, a feast procession, a priest lifting a jar, a woman dancing with one hand, raised head, tilted in song. Familiar now, decorative. But tonight it changed. You noticed it, not with your eyes, but with your skin. The hair on your arms lifted, your breath shortened, you paused. And there, between two carved figures, a small circle. Not carved, not painted, dark. round, unblinking. An eye, not a symbol, not a crack. A real eye, alive, watching. You stared. It did not blink. You took a step back, still watching. It wasn't fearful or curious. It simply was. Present, intentional. You raised your hand. The eye narrowed just slightly. Not a warning. An acknowledgement. You spoke. Only a whisper, "Do you see me?" Nothing moved. Then, softly, the torch beside you hissed. Wax popped. The flame bent sharply. When you turned back, the eye was gone. A perfect stone wall, unbroken, unchanged. You stepped forward, ran your fingers across the spot. Smooth. Cool. Undisturbed. But you knew it had seen you. And it might still be watching. Not always. Not openly. But when the walls breathe, when the rooms remember, it will return. Because some places don't just witness your steps, they learn your face. You hadn't meant to return. It wasn't a room you chose before. It wasn't marked. It wasn't special. Just a side chamber you'd passed once, maybe twice, a narrow space behind a painted veil with a low bench and nothing else. But when you turned the corner this time, it was waiting, exactly as you left it. Only different. The lamp inside still flickered, but lower, softer. Its scent was familiar ash and perfume, like the hem of a robe you once brushed with your fingertips. You stepped inside. It felt warm, not from heat, from memory. You sat, not because you were tired, because the bench expected you, and then you saw them. Marks on the wall, not writing, not art. Impressions, the curve of your shoulder, the angle of your hand when you'd leaned, the heel print near the corner. You touched one, still warm, still yours, but not from this moment. From before, the room had held you. Not as a space, as a witness. You looked up, and there, on the opposite wall, a reflection. Not a mirror, not glass, stone polished to a shine. And in it, you, not now. Before, when you first entered, eyes wider, hair differently arranged, clothes untouched. You blinked, so did the reflection. But it smiled. You didn't. You whispered, "What are you?" The reflection didn't speak. But the walls did. They creaked just slightly. Like breath held in too long, then released. The lamp dimmed. The air thickened. And you knew this room was not a place. It was a memory, and you were part of it. Now and always, even after you leave. Something of you will stay behind, still sitting, still breathing, still seen. You think you are alone. The room feels empty, save for the faint hum of distant voices and the soft crackle of torches struggling against the night. But then a sound. Not a voice exactly, not words, not a song, a whisper. It brushes past your ear like a breath lighter than air, yet heavier than silence. You turn sharply, but no one is there. Only a curtain hanging from the ceiling, linen, pale and worn, moving gently, as if stirred by something unseen. You step closer. The whisper repeats, soft, coaxing, almost pleading. You reach out your fingers, grazing the cool fabric. It shivers beneath your touch. A name, or what sounds like one, floats just beyond comprehension. Not your name. Not quite. Something older, almost forgotten. Your breath catches. You want to ask to speak back, but the air thickens, wrapping around your throat, keeping your words locked inside. The curtain sways again. You hesitate. Then slowly, you pull it aside. Behind it, shadows stretch long and deep, folding into each other like ancient secrets. You peer through. Nothing but darkness. Still, you feel eyes watching, waiting, knowing. You retreat, heart pounding. The whisper fades, but the feeling lingers. You realize here, even silence has a voice, and it's calling you. The mask hangs on the wall like a silent sentinel. Carved from dark wood, it gleams under the flickering torchlight. Its grin is too wide, too knowing, unnerving in its perfect symmetry. You stare, drawn in despite yourself. It seems to watch you, not with eyes, but with intention. Every time you blink, the corners of its mouth curl just a little higher. A smile that promises secrets or threats, maybe both. No one else glances its way, or maybe they choose to ignore it, but you can't look away. You reach out, fingertips trembling, almost touching the carved lips. The wood is smooth, warm from the heat of the room. A shiver runs down your spine. The mask's smile deepens, or maybe it's your imagination. A whisper brushes past your ear, so faint you're unsure if it's real. Remember, it says. You startle, pulling your hand back. No one else is near. You glance again. The mask hangs still, its grin frozen, but the weight of its gaze stays with you. You turn away, slowly, heart racing, but the smile follows you in the shadows. The cup in your hand feels heavier than before. You lift it to your lips, expecting the familiar warmth of the spiced wine. But no matter how much you drink, the cup never empties. The liquid swirls endlessly, deep red and thick, clinging to the sides like blood. Others around you begin to blur. Faces soften. Eyes glaze over. Time stretches and bends. Minutes become hours. Hours become moments. You take another sip. The sweetness clings, but with every swallow you feel something slipping yourself, unraveling piece by piece. Names, memories, faces. You try to speak, but your voice sounds distant, hollow. You try to stand, but your legs feel as if weighted by lead. The endless wine is no gift. It is a slow captivity. You are trapped in the flow of the liquid night, drifting further from who you were before you came here. You glance around, but no one else notices your slow disappearance. Or perhaps they do, and choose to watch silently. You swallow again. The cup never empties, and neither do the shadows around you. The walls here tell stories. Painted in ochre and lapis, their scenes shift as you move, dancers frozen mid-step, gods frozen mid-prayer. But one shadow is different. It doesn't match any figure or flicker with the torchlight. It lingers dark and dense, separate from any person, separate from any flame. You notice it first at the edge of your vision, a shape that doesn't move as you do. It waits on the wall, still and watching. You try to look directly, but it vanishes the moment you focus. You speak aloud, a name, a question, a challenge. No answer. But the shadow remains, growing thicker, heavier. A presence that presses against your back, your shoulders. You feel it stretch toward you, cold and silent. It does not touch, it does not speak. But it waits, patient, unyielding. You know this shadow carries stories untold, secrets kept just beyond the torchlight's reach. And you wonder, will it follow you beyond these walls? Will it haunt your steps when the night fades? You take a deep breath, turn away, and walk on, leaving the shadow behind, but never truly free of its gaze. The music floats in the air, soft, haunting, but no voice carries it. A melody without a mouth. You listen closely. The notes wind through the columns, brushing your skin like a forgotten touch. You hum along instinctively, feeling the rhythm pulse inside your chest. Others hear it too, but no one admits it. The song binds you together, silent invisible threads weaving through the crowd. It pulls you deeper into the night's embrace, deeper than the walls beyond the light. You feel your heartbeat slow. The room fades, edges blurring, faces melting. Time stretches thin, then thickens again. You close your eyes. The melody becomes your breath, your heartbeat, your memory. You are the song, and the song is you. When you open your eyes, the music lingers, but the singer is gone. It happened in the dance as the rhythm pulsed through the room. A hand found your wrist, not harsh, but firm. You glance sideways. No one is there. You try to pull away, but the grip holds fast. It's warm, familiar, yet terrifying in its silence. You freeze, heart hammering. The hand doesn't squeeze, but it doesn't let go. You feel a presence close and watching, not visible, but deeply felt. The music swells around you, but you hear nothing else. The hand guides you slowly, gently leading you where you don't want to go, but somehow cannot resist following. You try to speak. No words come. The hand remains. You close your eyes and surrender. Because in this place, some bonds are invisible, but no less real. In the corner of the chamber, a brazier burns, not with ordinary flames, but with colors that seem impossible. Blue and green tongues flicker, reaching upward without consuming the wood or oil beneath. The fire radiates warmth, but no heat that singes or stings. You stare into it, captivated by the unnatural dance of the flames. Shapes emerge in the shifting light, faces, animals, gods dancing and twisting on the edges of your vision. They beckon silently, their eyes full of stories you cannot yet understand. You feel drawn forward as if the fire itself is alive, alive with memories, desires, and secrets. Tentatively, you reach out your hand. The warmth flows over your skin, soothing yet electric. You hesitate to touch, afraid the flames might burn, but they do not. Instead, they seem to welcome your presence, wrapping around your fingers like silk. A sudden whisper rides the flickering light, a voice not spoken but felt. It tells of sacrifices made, promises broken, and eternal bonds forged in smoke and ash. You pull back slowly, heart pounding with a mixture of awe and fear. The fire continues to burn, defying the laws of the world you know. You realize this fire does not destroy, it preserves. It holds the past and present in a delicate balance, glowing softly as a guardian of hidden truths. You watch until your eyes grow heavy, the flames blurring into a lullaby only you can hear. You find yourself drawn to the far end of the hall, where shadows gather thick and heavy. Figures move there, not fully seen, only glimpsed through layers of translucent veils that shimmer faintly in the dim light. They glide rather than walk, their forms shifting like smoke caught in a gentle breeze. You cannot see their faces, only the soft outlines of bodies adorned with beads, feathers, and flowing fabrics. The dance begins silently. No music, no rhythm, only the synchronized movement of limbs and breath. They circle each other, weaving patterns that seem ancient and sacred, a language told through gesture and gaze. You feel their presence wrap around you, inviting yet warning. You try to follow their steps, but your feet falter. This dance is not for outsiders. It is a ceremony, a ritual passed through generations unseen. Their veils hide more than faces. They conceal intentions, memories, and truths too profound to speak. A hand briefly touches your arm, cold and feather-light, urging you back. You step away, heart racing, a mixture of longing and relief flooding you. They continue, undisturbed, weaving their silent story beneath the watchful eyes of gods carved in stone. You know you will never forget the ghostly grace of the veiled ones, their dance a shadow song in the quiet hours before dawn. A lotus flower is passed around the room, a delicate gift wrapped in fragrance. Its petals glow softly in the torchlight, white with a blush of pink at the edges. You inhale deeply. The scent is intoxicating, sweet yet sharp, like honey dipped in mint, and something wild. One by one, guests accept the flower. They breathe in its essence, closing their eyes, surrendering to the calm that spreads through their limbs and mind. You feel it too, the weight of the lotus pressing gently against your chest, soothing yet demanding. With every breath you sense yourself unraveling. Memories fade like mist. The faces of those you loved grow distant. Words once spoken become echoes you can no longer follow. The lotus takes more than fragrance. It takes fragments of your being. You watch as the room sways, softly. Voices lowered to whispers, bodies leaning into one another with a fragile grace. Some smile with tears in their eyes. Others clutch the petals as if holding on to a last thread of sanity. You realize the lotus is a price, a sacrifice made willingly to forget to escape, or perhaps to be chosen. You clutch the flower tighter, for in this place, forgetting is both gift and curse, and the scent of the lotus lingers long after the petals have wilted. Eyes are everywhere in this place. Not just human eyes, animal eyes, carved in stone, painted on walls, woven into fabrics. Eyes that follow you as you move, catching the flicker of torchlight and reflecting back secrets. You feel their gaze not just on your face, but beneath your skin. Some eyes blink, others remain wide open, unblinking, observing without judgment or mercy. In a quiet corner you find a mural, ancient and weathered, depicting gods with eyes that seem alive. They don't watch the crowd, they watch you. You reach out, fingertips brushing the rough stone. A warmth spreads through your hand, electric and familiar. Suddenly, the eyes in the mural seem to pulse, shifting subtly, as if breathing. You start to speak a name, a prayer, a question, but the eyes speak first. Without words, without sound, they tell you stories of love and lost power, and fear, life and death. You listen, heart pounding, feeling the weight of histories pressed into the stone. The eyes do not judge, they simply witness. And through their silent language, you understand you are not alone here. You step back slowly. The eyes hold your gaze until you disappear into shadow, and still they watch. A small object is placed in your palm, smooth, cool, and heavy with meaning. It's a scarab carved from dark stone, its surface worn by countless hands before yours. You turn it over, tracing the intricate lines etched into its back, the symbol of rebirth, protection, and eternity. The scarab seems to pulse faintly, as if alive. You feel its weight, not just in your hand, but in your heart, a silent promise and a heavy burden. Those around you bow their heads in reverence, but no one explains the gift. You realize it's both an honor and a trap, an emblem of power that ties you to the night and its secrets. You clutch the scarab tightly. Its presence seeps into your skin, threading through your veins, anchoring you to this place, this moment. You wonder what price you will pay to keep it, and what price it has already exacted from those who held it before. The scarab is a guardian and a chain binding you to the night's eternal dance. The hall falls into a sudden hush, not a quieting, but a stillness so profound it presses against your ears and bones. You feel it before you see it, the shift in the air, the pause in the breathing of the room. Even the flickering torches seem to hold their flames waiting. Voices die in mid-word, eyes stop moving. A heavy silence blankets the space, thick and expectant. You sense something approaching. Not a person, not a sound, but a presence vast and slow rolling like a dark wave just beyond sight. Your heart quickens, but your body remains still. You stand alone amid the frozen crowd, a single breath in a chamber paused. The tension coils tighter. Time stretches and tightens like a drawn bowstring. You realize the storm is not outside. It is here within these walls, within this night. A storm of whispers, shadows, and secrets ready to be unleashed. You brace yourself, not for what will come, but for what must pass. Because in the silence before the storm, you are most vulnerable and most alive. In the dimmest corner of the hall, a single candle burns. No breeze moves its flame, no hand tends it. Yet it flickers, shifting shadows dancing softly on the ancient walls. You approach, drawn by the quiet light. The flame's glow is gentle, almost reverent. It does not illuminate, but instead embraces the darkness around it. You reach out your fingers. The warmth brushes your skin like a whisper of a forgotten prayer. A sudden shiver runs through you. The flame bends away, as if shy or wary of your touch. You withdraw breath, caught between awe and unease. You watch the candle sway. It flickers to a rhythm no one else hears. A rhythm that seems to echo your heartbeat, slow and steady. You wonder who lit this candle. For whom does it burn? Is it a beacon, a warning, or a solitary guardian in the endless night? The flame dances once more, then steadies. You close your eyes and breathe in the silence it holds. In this flickering light, you feel a connection to those who came before, to those who will follow, to the night itself. A figure approaches, not from the center of the room, but from a shadowed alcove. You don't hear footsteps, only the soft rustle of robes. Their face is hidden behind a mask, polished, unmarked, smooth as stone. You feel the weight of their gaze even without seeing their eyes. It's not hostile, but it pierces deeper than any glance. A look that sees beyond flesh and bone into secrets you haven't dared admit. They stop before you. No words pass between you. Only the silence thickens. You want to turn away, but your feet are rooted. The air hums around you, charged with expectation. The masked stranger lifts a hand, slow, deliberate. You raise yours in response. A silent exchange, no promises, no threats, just understanding. They step back, disappearing into the shadows once more. You watch their retreating figure, heart-pounding, breath shallow. You wonder who was that, what did they see, and what part of you will never be the same. The room grows quieter as the night wears on. Glasses are raised for the final toast. Voices are low, soft, and measured. You feel the weight of the moment settle over everyone. A farewell, a beginning. You lift your cup slowly, meeting the eyes of those around you. They are tired but resolute faces marked by shadows and candlelight. The liquid in your cup is warm and thick. It spreads through your chest, filling you with a gentle fire. Words are spoken, blessings whispered. No one dares to break the solemnity with laughter or song. You drink. The taste lingers sweet, bitter and familiar. You sense the circle closing the night, folding in upon itself. You are part of it, an unspoken pact, a quiet ritual. As the glasses lower, you feel the world shift beneath your feet. The end of one journey, the start of another. You breathe out slowly, letting the warmth carry you forward, into the silence that follows. You have wandered these halls and chambers, touched the fire that doesn't burn, held the scarab that binds, and danced with unseen shadows. Desire here is no simple longing. It is heavy, woven with faith, fear, and the fragile hope of escape. In ancient Egypt, pleasure was a language and a ritual, a bridge between mortal and divine. Yet it carried a price, a tether pulling you deeper into the night's mysteries, where forgetting and remembering entwine in endless embrace. Feel that weight settle softly on your shoulders now. Let it remind you of the night's delicate balance between surrender and survival. The goddess Hathor ruled these nights, not just with music and laughter, but with strict, unseen laws. The sacred was intertwined with the profane, beauty mixed with danger. Every smile hid a secret, every dance held a warning. Here the divine was as close as breath, but just as easily turned away. As you close your eyes, imagine the whispers in the dark, the rituals that held the world together and sometimes tore it apart. Breathe slowly and let the tension dissolve, carried away on the scent of lotus and myrrh. Masks covered faces but never hid the truth. Behind every painted smile and carved statue lies a story waiting to be told, of power loss and unseen eyes watching. You wear your own mask now, woven from moments of this night, from memory and shadow. And yet, beneath it, you remain. Let that thought rest inside you, even in darkness. Your true self waits silent, steady, unforgotten. Time here is not linear. It folds, stretches, and circles back, like the spiral dance you once joined, like the endless wine that never emptied. The night and the day blur, and with them, past and present. Feel yourself moving through this timeless space, where moments become memories, and memories become stories. Let your breathing match the rhythm of the dance, slow-flowing, endless. Silence in this place is a presence alive, watching, speaking, without sound. The finger on your lips, the candle that flickers alone, the whispered names behind curtains, all remind you of the power that lies in what is unsaid. As you drift now, let silence be your guide. Let it cradle you gently, carrying you toward rest and renewal. The night is long, but dawn always comes. In the final moments before sleep, imagine the first rays of sun touching the palace walls, burning away shadows and secrets. Know that no matter how deep the darkness, there is light waiting to welcome you back. Feel that light surround you now, warm, soft, and certain. Breathe it in. Let it carry you into peaceful dreams. Now the night begins to fade. The whispered secrets settle into shadows. The flickering candles bow their heads one last time. You rise slowly, feeling the weight of the evening lifting from your shoulders. The palace is silent, waiting patiently for the next night to awaken its mysteries again. You step outside into the cool desert air, the soft breeze brushing your skin, carrying the scent of jasmine and sand. The stars retreat as dawn's first light spills over the horizon. You are safe, you are whole, and the memories you carry are yours to keep, quiet treasures tucked deep inside, ready to rest until the next time you dream. Breathe deeply now. Let the day's light warm your soul, and fall softly into sleep, carried gently on the wings of ancient nights.